Hey, it's Dan, and welcome to Unified Gaming. So today we're going to play Trash or Grab. This is the game where we check all of the weekly vendors in one big swoop to see are there items that are worth grabbing or are they absolute trash. We focus primarily from a gameplay perspective, so scripts, items, etc, including leads, but not so much on furnishings or costumes. As always, this is a weekly video, so I will go through this every week, so just make sure that you keep an eye on the channel. And if you want to see where to find the golden vendor, you can locate her in Cyrodiil on every Homekeep base. For the blue, she's down in Northern High Rock. If you're playing on the yellows, she's down over at the Western Elsewhere Gate. And if you're playing on the reds, she's over at the Southern Morrowind Gate. As I said, this is a weekly video and her stock does change week to week. So if you want to stay up to date with this series, then do subscribe. Likes and comments are greatly appreciated, and just a massive thanks to all of the YouTube members. Just note that this is recorded on the 5th of April 2025, so if you are watching this in the future, things will be different. The golden vendor this week, she is selling the following stuff. The Blessed Meridius set. This is necklaces, and when you block an attack, you gain Meridius Blessed Armor for 5 seconds, causing you to dodge all incoming attacks. What this basically means is that you become immune to all single target attacks. AoE's dots will still hit you if they're on you, so just factor that in. So yeah, this is a very, very cool set, very fun to play. It's more of a troll set in all honesty. Is it like the best PvP set? No, but can it work well? Yes. If you are going to use this, I'd personally recommend backbarring this because it is a buff. And what that means is you have the 5-piece turn on when you're in the back bar. You block an attack, so you get this effect. You switch to the front bar, you still have this effect. Then you can just go and do some damage. So it is a very, very, very strong effect, very defensive, but it's got a very long cooldown, so it's very sort of niche. We then have the Ember Shield set. This is a set you can find in Dungeon. It's a bit naff in all honesty. When you complete a heavy attack, you increase your physical resistances by 3.3k until X amount of damage to the targets. This scales off your resistances. Now, the damage isn't great in all honesty. Obviously, it's 1 second for 6 seconds, so the total damage is good, but for PvP, damage over time typically isn't that useful. So I would say skip this, even in PvE. You then have the Draga Kingslayer set. This is awful. It just gives you major damage, and when you kill something, you get Expedition. These are easy buffs to get, so I'll just skip this. This is just not worth getting. We then have the Vampire Lord's Necklace. This increases your vampire bonuses and penalties for each stage. So essentially, the higher vampire stage you are, the more you can get out of the vampire skills, but the more awkward they can be used. I find it's a very weird one. It's just odd. The vampire skills themselves don't do enough, so I don't think this is worth using. For the monster sets, we actually have a pretty decent monster set here. The only downside is this is very easy to get, so yeah. This is the Baron Thrisk set. This is a helmet that you can get. It's very, very good. The reason why it's good is because the one piece has recovery and recovery. The 2 piece is absolutely bad, just ignore this. It is this 1 piece here, it's like Magma Incarnate. So if you're somebody who has seen Magma Incarnate on a build, for like a 1 piece on a tank for example in PvE, or if you're doing what I do quite often, doing 1 Baron, 1 Magma, to just have loads of recovery all of the time for stamina and magicka, this is a really, really good thing for you this week. So if you haven't got this, I would recommend getting this here, mainly because you can buy this with gold and AP rather than Telva. So, good set, but I would, just get this basically. The Gatekeeper set, when you roll, you dodge, you create a husk after you within 5 meters. It will absorb all direct damage attacks. After 1 second, the husk explodes, doing damage to enemies. It has a 20-second cooldown and damage scales of your damage. It's a bit naff in all honesty. This isn't really worth it. The only good thing for this is that when you roll dodge, you basically make a safe area for you and allies, but it only lasts a second. So with that in mind, I would just skip this set. It's just not worth using. Like, I can't see how you'd use it in PvP in any real way. And PvE wise, there's just better monster sets as it is for tanking and for healing and for damage. So yeah. That covers the golden vendor. What we also do in this series, if you're new here, is we check all the other vendors. So we do go into Imperial City, because there's an Imperial City vendor. We then also check the Infinite Archive and the Scalarium and talk about the scripts and things and how you can use those. So when you get into the Imperial City, you are looking for the section where there's all the shops. So it's normally shown as like the sword and the shield together, so down here. And then what you can also see is there's like a banner up here to help you navigate to. Your home base will be slightly different, so just do factor that in. And then when you're going through here, you're looking for the Telvar merchant. There are a few merchants here, so it's quite easy to get confused with which one. The general merchant is what you want to avoid. You want to really look for the person that just says Telvar merchant. And if you like the video, then do obviously like, comment and subscribe to stay up to date with the series. This week, she is selling the following stuff, and again, this stock does rotate weekly. She has Deadly necklace. This is very, very, very good. The 100,000 for it though, it's not worth it. So I wouldn't buy this. This is not worth it. It's a good set. The cost is just too high. You then have Shield Breaker. This used to be amazing, especially against Sorceress, because you just did loads of extra damage. The problem is the Silk Shields are just so disgustingly big, and they heal them, that this is just pointless now, so it's not needed. We then have two leads. We've got one for the Stormweaver's Kavat. It's pretty bad in all honesty, I would skip this. And then one for the Saint and Seducer, which is really good actually. So if you are after the Saint and Seducer mythic, this is worth considering. With a lot of the leads and things, if you have infinite time and you want to farm and stuff, you save a lot of Telvar. If you have loads of Telvar spare and you go, you know what, I don't want to do any farming for leads, I hate that, I hate the RNG-ness of it, then this may be worth considering. Me personally, I would just grind it out. 25k Telvar is quite hard to get. I'd rather keep that for something really hard, like lead that's really hard to get, like the Gaze of Sithis lead that happens from daily quests. So there's a real like limit on how quickly you can farm it. But you know, each their own. It's a good lead. It's a good mythic. We then have three scripts. We have damage. Don't get this. Immobilize. It's not worth it. Swiftness. It's okay. Again, not really worth it. So I would personally skip this vendor for today. We're now going to jump all the way over to the Infinite Archive in a moment. If you are in Imperial City and you get stuck, you can just change campaign to just leave quickly, and this will also let you keep all your Telvar too, so a little tip there. We're now going to go and travel to the Infinite Archive, look at what the vendors are selling over there, and just note that with this video and just the date, if you are watching this in the future, it's going to be slightly different. You know, things do change, so my advice as always is, you know, subscribe to the channel, see it each week, so you know what's worth grabbing, what's worth leaving, and maybe there's something to make money on. This week I've not seen anything decent in that regard beyond the Baron Thrisk helmets. In the Infinite Archive, this is a place where it uses a discrete currency called Archival Fortunes. Here you get this from doing this and engaging with like the system, and the vendor we're looking for appears every Tuesday to Tuesday, so we're still in the weekly slot, and he's called Filer All, and he's right at the back on the eastern side. Filer All sells a range of stuff, some leads. So we've got a lead for a music box. This is a furnishing. We've got a lead for the Harpooner's Wading Kit. This is a very, very good mythic item. It's good for PvE. PvP is terrible. So if you're wanting a decent DPS item for PvE, this is worth getting in all honesty. The 5,000 fortunes are not too bad to get either. So I would personally recommend getting this if you haven't got this already. It's a decent mythic. As with these things, if you value the currency a bit more and you want to save it for a bit of a harder lead to get, then that's an option too. Script wise, we've had a few scripts this week. So we've got Expedition, it's speed, it's decent. Mangle, pretty bad. We then have Multi-Focus, bad. And then we have Gladiator's Tenacity. This is really good. If you want to use this on like a Sorcerer for example and get an extra 8% damage reduction, I think it's 6 or 8% damage reduction, this is very good with Alfred's Contingency. So this is worth considering if you don't have this already. You know, most people might have this now, or you might be able to buy it in a shop for gold. It would be expensive, but this is quite a good script, so do consider getting this. The final place we check is the Scalarium. This is also part of the Gold Road, so you do need access to the Gold Road DLC. And when you go to a place called Avaya, once inside, you'll find there's a weekly vendor that appears if you have completed the Scalarium quest at least once. By that, you'll get an achievement, and then that vendor will appear. It doesn't matter which character you complete it on, but you have to have completed it for the vendor to appear on all of your characters. So you'll see that I have not completed the quests on this character, but because I have done it on a different character, all of the things are available, such as the vendors. You have two vendors. You've got an achievement, you've got a furnisher. So if you like furnishings, you know, here it is. Personally, it's not for me. This is quite a cool one if you like this, but I don't really care about furnishings. And then the vendor down here, Fernando, he sells all this sort of just skills, but these scripts down here do generate each week. So he's got the crit chance. It's pretty naff in all honesty. You know, if you don't have it, maybe it's worth doing. These are gold. These are quite generally get these as kind of my sort of thoughts. But if you don't have it, I wouldn't rush to buy it. Disease damage, it's great in theory. There's not a lot of use for it in all honesty. You know, there's a few sets that increase certain damages, like War Maiden increasing magic damage. There's not many for disease, and then also the other disease skills are just not great, so I wouldn't rush to buy this. Generate ult, this is cool, just more ult gen, but again, the skills you use this on isn't too great. We then have the Leech and Thirst, which lets you just get some healing when you do damage. This is mainly used on the 2H. It's okay in all honesty, but it's not like the best or the worst. With those scripts, if you are curious as to like what they look like and how you could use them, the Leech and Thirst is mainly used on the Smash skill, so where you do something like physical damage. You can then pick anything like this, like Leech and Thirst, so you get some healing back, and you can pick any sort of buff. So Berserk's quite a decent one to get often. You can also get that Brutality and have this instead of like your damage buff. Breach is quite nice because it just gives them penetration. Mangles, you know, reduces max health, so this can be good in PvP as a single hit. Expedition for just speed. There's lots of options here. And then what you'll find is that 36% of this damage heals you. Obviously in PvP this is half, so it's 18%. It is an AoE cone. It does hit 4k, so you'll get 18% of 4k roughly. So you're going to find that the healing isn't massive in PvP, so I wouldn't rush to buy it, just so that people are aware. And then with the protection one that I was showing earlier, the Gladiator's Tenacity, if you want to go and use that, contingency is amazing. You can use this as a shield, you can use it as a heal, you can use it as damage if you want. It's easy for shields in all honesty, that's the easiest use. You get the most, it's easy to use and it always helps you. You can then use Gladiator's Tenacity here as an 8% damage reduction, which is amazing. And you can then put on something like Resolve for even more reduction on top. And then what you essentially have now is a skill that gives you 8% damage reduction. It gives you armor, which is great. You could change this to protection if you wish, which you always get minor protection. And this is an AoE for you and allies. So it's a really, really, really good script. So me personally, if you don't have this, I'd buy this. I do use this myself. So this is very, very good. But yeah, that kind of shows you what is in the week. Not a great week in all honesty, it's a bit naff, but there's a few scripts that I'll probably consider getting if you don't have already for specific builds. As always, if you like the videos and the content, then likes and comments are greatly appreciated. And if you haven't done so, do subscribe so you can stay up to date with the channel. We've got loads more on the way, so I'd love for you to see it. And I just want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to all of the YouTube and Patreon members who support the content. They get early access, exclusives, and much, much more. If you want to do all that, there's details down below. But as always, I'll catch you in the next stream or the next video. Take care, thanks for watching, and bye!